Two Sons. What a great line of knives. So they're in the budget line. This one was about $80 according to the owner, Troy, who says it's the best $80 he's ever spent on a knife. All right, well, we'll talk about that. This is the TS300. They are made in China. Yeah, whatever. And this has a beautiful Tanto blade. So you've got titanium frame lock, 3D milled pocket clip that works exceptionally well. Just a very clean, simplistic kind of, I don't know. It's just plain Jane, but in a nice looking way. In contrast here to the Shargnivko Ryu. Not taking anything away from either, but this is truly just plain. It has some brushing on it, but this one with its angles, it just gives it a little bit more pop, right? Again, just titanium frame locks. There's also that same contouring or milling on the back, the lock side of the Tucson. So just a good kind of contrast. These are both Tantos also, and we'll look at that a little bit closer. Different style Tantos. I like Tucson because of the variety. I don't like all of the variations Tucson does, but I do like their variety. I love a Tanto blade. This is kind of an aggressive Tanto. This is more Tanto than I generally prefer, if that makes sense. I like a little bit of a shorter Tanto. Whereas this part here, what I mean by that is kind of more here. And here is one on the Shargnivko Ryu that has, like, I kind of want, for my favorite blade, would be something between these two extremes, if that makes sense. I don't have one here. Like, well, if we look at the Kubi KB237, I think that's a good balance. For me, your mileage may vary. But so we have very short Tanto, kind of a standard Tanto, and a very long or aggressive or tall Tanto. I'm not sure what you want to call that. But so just because it's a Tanto blade doesn't mean it's a Tanto blade. Like, there's just different varieties when somebody says, oh, it's a Tanto blade, which I think is great. I think that's what the knife industry is all about. Everybody getting their take on it as I touched this and got it all smudged up. So let's take a look at this blade because it's cool. Okay. It is a Tanto. It's an aggressive Tanto, if you will. Flat grind up here at the tip. Nice hollow grind back here on the primary area. I just love the detail here of that rounded transition between the flat and the hollow. I just like the way that looks. So it is a little bit thick behind the edge, this knife altogether. So behind the flat point here at the tip is 0.039 and the hollow point is 0.030. But, that's okay. So, and typically you're going to have a thicker behind the edge here at the flat grind tip part because you want that to be a little bit stronger because this particular shape is designed for piercing and then cutting. So you want that tip to be really strong with a lot of thickness behind the edge. This is in 14C28N blade steel. Typical frame lock, no internal milling, has a lock bar insert and an over travel stop, and just pretty plain and basic, which I like. Runs on bearings, doesn't drop guillotine shut, but nice and controlled. Fingers off the lock bar, and it just kind of drops. Normal use, you're good to go. You can reverse flick it. And if I can reverse flick it, anybody can, because I think that's a dumb way to open a knife. My least favorite, and I can't do it on 99% of the knives out there. So when it works, it works. You can choke up a little bit here. There is a little bit of a relief for your finger, which is very comfortable. All in all, I like Tucson. My buddy Dave introduced me to Tucson, and I have been a fan ever since. So it's 4 3/4 closed, 8 1/8 overall, 3.4-inch blade length with a 3.47-inch cutting edge, because the cutting edge comes farther down than the tip of the scale. And when I measure the blade length, it's from the very leading edge of the scale to the tip. Okay, we already talked about behind the edge. Blade thickness is 0.149. We talked about the blade steel. Overall thickness is 0.509, and it weighs in at 4.8 ounces, just slightly under your 5-ounce D-cell battery. All right, I do not have another Tucson on the table to compare it to, but I will show you next to the obligatory Sharpie, the Spyderco, another great budget Tanto blade, the Kubi KB237. I wish it had a name, because I hate saying KB237 all the time. And then again, next to the Sharknivko Ryu, which is one of my favorite makers, Edison and his lovely wife, Mariella. They are awesome folks. So it's just a little bit under. So this is a really good size for your daily carry knife. Yeah, I don't know. What more can I say about Tucson? I think they're awesome. Go check them out. I have a Tucson playlist up here in the corner. Troy, thanks for loaning this in.